they're really serious about opening up. And China wants to let the world know that they are serious about allowing goods, services, capital, and all the free trade to be able to go in between China and the rest of the world. And in a world where trade is so important and supply chains are even more vitally important, I think China is demonstrating that it will be and continue to be at the center of global trade. And I think when people are trying to diversify their supply lines away from China, they're going to find it's a hard time doing it with this kind of experimentation going on.
Yeah, I want to pick up on a couple of things you talked about, because the Hainan Free Trade Port really fits in to China's broader strategy, as you talked about, to opening up, having reform, but it also in terms of promoting high quality growth. Talk about that dual focus, how that is going to really benefit.
That's been the spearhead of China's development model right now, to emphasize high quality growth, because those are the sectors where China has excelled. In the last 10 years, with the Made in China 2025 program that was put in place by Chairman Xi, we find that China has really dominated in the areas of solar panels, electric vehicles, pharmaceuticals, a whole range of areas where 10 years ago there were no standards and there were no dominant leaders. China has become that dominant leader. And because of that, the Hainan Free Port allows China to let the world have access to the China market in a way that was unprecedented. As you know, Sean, China used to have Hong Kong as its gateway. But Hong Kong was a very different system. Hong Kong was a British system, so really had a very different entry point. Now, Hainan represents China as the entry point and China's own rules and regulations. And I think that's the strength that Hainan represents. Oh, by the way, also, that also is a potential vulnerability, because when you change things as drastically as China's trying to change, people are very hesitant to, jump onto that change, and they want to say, show me first what you really can do. And I think that's going to be China's challenge.
Well, China has been extraordinarily successful at going back this past year especially and reaffirming these old friendships where perhaps trade with the United States has dipped somewhat significantly this year. China's been extremely good at attracting foreign investment and encouraging more of this to come, more multinational companies to expand their presence in the Chinese market. And this is really going to play into that hand in hand.
Oh, absolutely, Sean. In fact, that's a great point. I should also bring up that the Belt and Road strategy that's been put in place for quite a while now was part of this overall opening up of China. I think one of the criticisms that most Western economists say is that, well, China's really great at exporting goods and services, but it's not really good about capital exports. And I think Belt and Road was one place where capital was strategically placed around the world to help countries build infrastructure. Now, Hainan represents yet another opening up that allows foreign capital to come into China and to be able to make investments within China and help China develop its own domestic market, which, as you know, it really needs a lot of private sector development in order to boost domestic demand. And Hainan represents an entry point to that. And again, the key is in execution. Will the rules allow and entice Western investors to come into China? And right now, the hope is yes.
Yeah, indeed. And also this ongoing struggle to get more internal consumption as well. In what ways do you think Hainan is going to strengthen China's links with regional partners and all those items in Asia and Global South that are really so important to people in mainland China? What is that going to do?
The key to success in the Global South has been the development of the private markets. And as you said earlier, China's been fantastic at gathering an expanded portfolio of trading partners and partners in general. And I think one of the things that China is going to benefit from is that its trade linkages with the private sector in the Western world will allow the private sector to come into China and bring foreign expertise in consumer goods, in private sector development that will allow domestic demand to really blossom. One of the things that's key to developing domestic demand is that people have to feel secure that their livelihoods are in place and that their safety of retirement is in place. When you have an expanded private sector that's able to create more income growth, you absolutely encourage that kind of confidence, and that'll boost domestic demand right there.
And also with the explosive development of AI, a lot of people are concerned about the labor market moving forward. One thing this seems to do is give China a really solid economic foundation for its long-term economy moving forward. Do you think that's true?
it certainly will allow AI to develop in a way that's more integrated with the rest of the world. The most dangerous thing you can do is develop your own standard for AI domestically in China, and the rest of the world is proceeding on a different standard. Because Hainan is a free port that opens up to both the flow of goods, services, and data into and out of China. That's really key. It has to go both ways. And once that flow is demonstrated to be secure and reliable and stable, you're going to see AI blossom in a way that really can't be imagined right now, because integrated AI development with integrated standards will be the key to not only China's success but global success.